Because majority of people who come to see you, it will be their first time to experience that. And they say they have heard from their friends who had fascinating experiences. They saw some documentary. These days there are a lot, right? And they read a lot of best-selling books. And it's so fascinating, they want to have their own experience. So it will be the first time. However, whatever they read, they saw is other people's experience. They're conceptualized. They become words, and it's just concepts for them. So how are they going to know, am I experiencing this right? That will be the question they have in their mind. So normally I use these three analogies. I'm getting confused now. It's not my word, analogy. It's not in his head. So one of them it would be, how this also addresses actually how does hypnosis feel like for me? Okay, I would say, suppose your life, Kim, right? Your life is like a lake, a pond. So normally what we know about Kim's life is from here to here, it's on the surface of the level, like what's next, going here and to-do list forever long. That's all the life that I know, busyness on the surface of the lake, that's a linear. Yet, as any lake, there's a depth of us, but we don't notice it. We don't pay attention to it, because we're so busy going about on the surface of the lake. Now, what hypnosis feels like is, you just relax your body, the muscles in your body relaxes, go to sleep actually. There's no difference. I think body-wise, physical-wise, it's just a sleep-like. When your body relaxes, the mind, the conscious mind, tends to relax as well. So there is a natural non-activity on the surface of the lake. It's like, you allow the world to go by without you for the next hour or two. You are just here, non-activity. That creates a natural stillness on the surface of the lake. When the lake is still, there's no effort you need to do. There's a clear seeing what's underneath. That's the depth of me. So that's what happens. So in another word, that is to say, Kim, there's nothing you need to do. You just focus on how much you can continue to relax yourself. I do all the work. How does that sound to you? They're like, oh, great. So that's the way I put it. It makes sense to them. They want to see the depths of the lake. So sometimes they would say, the conscious mind would come, you know how this feels like, how am I going to help Kemila to do? I said, no, there's nothing you need to help. Because whatever you do is to create more ripples on the surface of the lake. When you have the ripples, you have the waves, you don't see clearly. So past life regression, again, I tell them it's not about memory. Now, Marianne, do you remember what you had for breakfast today?
I'm sorry for?
Do you remember what you had for breakfast today?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember what you had for breakfast last Wednesday?
No.
So, if I can't remember what I had for breakfast last Wednesday, how can I remember a past life? Because you tell them it's different. Past life memory recall is not remembering in a linear way, right? Because it's here, it's now. As a lake, you see it here and now. The way to remember past life memories is to re-experience it here and now. It's not in the back, in a memory. It's to relive the moment. So that's how I tell them. And another analogy is, I say, if my life is like going about, a journey, that's what they say, right? Life is a journey. And normally it's a conscious mind of you who's driving the vehicle. What the conscious mind does, 4 main functions to figure things out. What if I have a flat tire on the highway? Is to rationalize, right? I don't understand this person. He must be lazy. We give a name, to label, to rationalize. So that's what the conscious mind is, to analyze, right? It's short-term memory. That's a conscious part of the mind. And scientists tell us we humans use only 15% of our mind, and that's not true. We know it's not true. because 15% of mind is a conscious part of the mind. That's what the scientists know. We humans, we actually do use 100% of our mind to appear, that we only use 15% of our mind. And that's why we are here, right? We address the 85% of the mind. You know, we humans, we are masters of limitation. So I tell them, in a hypnosis, we invite, because we don't need analysis for this work. That's what we are good at. We don't need to rationalize, to label, to name things. We don't need to figure things out, because you wouldn't need me if you can figure everything out yourself, right? You need me for something different, for the 80% of your mind. So we invite, in the hypnosis, we invite the 15% of our conscious part of the mind to take the passenger seat. So your 85% of the unconscious mind comes out driving the vehicle. That's good news. And my role is a tourist guide, because you know where you are, your conscious and unconscious, and your unconscious knows where you need to go. And as a tourist guide, I know the territory. So together it's a teamwork. So in that way, they kind of, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then, of course, because it's their first time, their conscious mind might kick in, right? Because, the conscious mind is so used to driving the vehicle. And then now being a passenger, the conscious mind doesn't know if I should trust the whole process. So you might hear, in a past life regression, you might hear, yourself talking, did I make this up? Did I imagine everything? Did I read too many novels? You might hear all of this. It's because the conscious mind, whatever comes up, the material comes up from you, bypasses the conscious part of the mind, right? So the conscious mind is like, I didn't know that. So in a sense, when it's first time, when I ask you a question, it's first time I hear you the answer. Probably it's the first time you hear yourself. And you would have this question in your mind, the passenger itself, especially, how did I know that? Right? So, and that is, but the best passengers in the world are those who are passive, right? No driver likes a passenger who's too noisy. Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? Slow down, slow down. No, turn right. No, we don't like it. So that's how you know how to address the passenger, is not to engage either positively, such as, I think you're right, I should stop. Or negatively, oh, you shut up. Because when you engage either way, then you lose. Because a good driver is always focusing on the road. So it's always with me. So you address the passenger, yeah, I know, I understand you, I understand your concern, but trust me, we can do this, and there will be a time. And this moment I tell them, normally I record my sessions so that there will be a time for the passenger, for the conscious mind, the analytical mind to think about, to analyze. There will be a time. But this is a process to connect the data, is to connect the material. We cannot connect the data and analyze the data at the same time. We cannot do a good job. So this is how you address them. And sometimes I would use another analogy like a jigsaw puzzle, right? We need to connect, to have all the jigsaw puzzles together, to turn them over in order to make a picture of it. So while you are experiencing it may not make sense to you when you are experiencing it, but that's okay. Just speak out loud whatever comes to awareness. As it comes to awareness, this is what you tell them beforehand and during the session, because they are going to say that doesn't make sense. Then they will stop. They stop to analyze it. You don't want that. Right? So you tell them you have to, the first step is to connect all the puzzle pieces, and then after that we have enough information, then we can analyze, we can make a picture of it. Okay.